It's election day. Let's talk about it. I ain't much of a vlogger, you know what I mean? But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I just left the polls. Left the polls like a scripper who just got off work. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm here. And I wanted to kind of like, honestly, I wanted to talk through a little bit of like what I feel, man. I could feel the tension. I could feel the friction in people. I could feel the unknown about the future of our country plaguing people's minds. You can see it. You can see it. It's in everybody's eyes as soon as you walk into the voting booth, as soon as you walk into the polls. It's almost like everybody's like hoping you make the right choice. You could feel the tightness, man. And in no way do I want to take away the importance of this election. In no way do I want to downplay or debase the significance of us getting out to the polls and doing our civic duty. But I just want to drop a message for us today, man. No matter the outcome, don't panic. Don't panic. I know it sounds crazy, right? Like, how? With all that's at stake in this election, especially in the black community, I want to encourage you. Don't panic, man. God's got us, yo. There's not an epic or a era of time that we have not made it through or made it over or made it out of. There's not an era from civil rights to Jim Crow to slavery itself to Reconstruction period to the crack epidemic, like it's HIV epidemic. Like there's not an era our people have not made it through. So don't panic, man. Don't panic. What I will say is this, though, from a political standpoint. No matter the outcome of this election, I want to talk more concretely about politics. No matter the outcome of this election, I think there's two takeaways from this that we as a people, especially I'm talking to black people now, that we as a people need to keep in mind. The first thing is there has been value. This is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound controversial. But there has been value for the black community throughout the presidency of Donald Trump. I know y'all are like, nah, get off my line, bro. I don't want to, but let me explain. Corrupt leadership will always galvanize the people. I'm going to say that again. Corrupt leadership always galvanizes the people, in particular the people who are most negatively impacted. You feel me? One thing that the presidency of Donald Trump has done is it made black people care about the agenda that we need in our communities in order to thrive. Black unemployment is at its lowest in the last God knows how many decades because of during the presidency of Donald Trump. Let me say this as well. That does not mean I'm giving him the credit for it. Not at all, because then y'all gonna crucify me. But what it has done is almost like when racism and bigotry is out in the open, it forces people to come together who are impacted in a negative way. Let's go back to the civil rights era. A lot of our grandparents, great grandparents, stuff like that, parents even, a lot of them were like homeowners. A lot of them were entrepreneurs. A lot of black businesses thrived. The black community used black electricians. The black community used black plumbers. The black community used black transit services. The black community used black airports. The black community, we leaned and depended on each other because the racism was so overt that we was like, well, if y'all don't want us around, then we got to do what we got to do to make it. Right? We fast forward to now, something similar has happened. Because some of the tweets of the president and the rhetoric and some of the messages that his campaign is laced with that seem to support bigotry and seem to support mistreatment of black people, what has happened is that like black businesses start to support each other. Other companies start to hire more black qualified people, right? Within our communities, we started spreading the word about somebody else's economic endeavors a little bit more. Our social medias have become a little more inundated with stuff that supports us, stuff that pushes a black agenda. So in looking through the lens of justice usually rises up at stronger I don't want to say rates, but it rises up in a way that is a little more heard around the world when leadership is corrupt. So keep that in mind, yo. Keep that in mind. If things don't work out our way, which I'm not speaking and I'm not hoping, but if things don't work out the way we want tonight at the end of this election, what we have to continue to do is hold each other accountable in our communities. Brothers standing up, not letting violence and things like that just thrive in our communities. We gotta push each other to hold our local police departments accountable, no matter who's in office. We gotta push each other to hold our local officials accountable, no matter who's in office. You feel what I'm saying? Like there's a lot we got to take from things if it does not work out in our favor. Now, let's say the Democratic nominee is who is elected. We have to hold his campaign's feet to the fire. We cannot consider just a victory of getting Donald Trump out of office like the only thing we'll need for the next 4 years. Like that's all that mattered. No, we have to continue to promote what's important for our communities to thrive so that the rates of unemployment and the rates of incarceration don't rise because we become complacent and are like, oh, all I needed was for Donald Trump to be out of office. It's like, nah, that's not the only thing we need. We need a lot more in our communities. And we have to make sure that if Biden is elected, that we're holding him and his campaign accountable. And I'm going to say this lastly, and I'm going to get out your way. The last thing I want to say before we get the results tonight is, yo, in the future, black people, I don't know for anybody else's communities, but I know black people because that's what I am. And I know we're not a monolith and everybody doesn't think the same or have to sound the same and things like that. But one thing that's important is make sure we're doing our research. Make sure we're doing our research up until election day. We're not just like, oh, I only know the candidates that are being presented to me by the media. Because guess what? Sometimes the media suppresses the campaigns of other candidates because they don't have the same financial backing. But little do we know, there's other candidates like I forget the name, Jade Simmons, black woman in the running, but she's an independent candidate. So it doesn't bring as much traction on CNN or ABC or other MSNBC and other major news outlets. So you'll see less of her, right? But we got to do our research like, oh, okay, we're not feeling Biden's support of the crime bill a few decades ago. We're not feeling some of the racist rhetoric that Donald Trump won't stand and denounce. Okay. Who else is in the running that might not be Democratic, might not be Republican, might not be none of these mainstream parties, right? They might be from an independent party. Let's do some research and let's put our money, put our support, put our social media, put our voices behind those people. Because what I've seen over this, like last presidency, the campaigning is that you see a lot of discussion about people like talking about the lesser of two evils and not really feeling either candidate. All right, that's cool. But have you done your research to see who else is out there that we can back and push as a community? Because then if we do it as a community, what ends up happening is we actually get the support. We get more eyes on a candidate that actually more people are satisfied with. You feel what I'm saying? I'm asking like y'all could respond, but like you get what I'm saying. I do believe that there is a lot that is hanging on this election. But I also believe that we are a strong people and that from a spiritual and just a mental health standpoint, don't let wickedness in high places make you lose sight on the possibility of hope interdependently within your communities. Because there's still a lot we can do together no matter who's in office. So my message, y'all, I voted. I made sure I did my civic duty. But no matter the outcome of tonight's election, don't panic. You heard? Don't panic. And yo, shout out to my sponsor. Do I really have a sponsor? No, I don't have a sponsor. But I'm going to act like I have a sponsor because I'm an entrepreneur. I got to plug these new Free the Souls beanies. We got these in this color and we got them in black. They ain't hit the website yet, but fire. See that threading? Genuine leather on the label. Shout out to Free the Souls Clothing, my sponsors. Don't panic.